Hey Stampers, Kim from StampingImperfection.com. Welcome to my craft room. I have a card I'd like to show you today. I promised myself that there would be 3 things I used in my card making this month. I promised that I would use my piercing mat and my piercing templates. I promised myself that I would use Secret Garden because I haven't used it enough, so I'm using the Secret Garden stamp set. I've used it a little bit, but it's so pretty and there's so much you can do with it. I definitely need to use it again. And I also promised myself that I would use one of these little embossing folders that just does the little trim on the edge. So I'm going to use one of these today. To make my card, I'm starting with Whisper White cardstock. This is cut at 4 1/4 by 11. So it's a long card. I scored it at 5 1/2 and folded it and used my bone folder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Big Shot and I'm going to place this folder, and I want the embossed side up, so I'm placing it with the Sizzix and the Stampin' Up symbol up, and I'm just lining it up along the bottom of the card, and I'm lining up one of the scallops with the edge, and I'm trying to make sure that I have an even amount of cardstock at the bottom. Now I'm going to run this through my Big Shot like this, and in order to do that, I had to cut with my giant cutter. I had to cut a little bit of the edge of this off. So I just cut it right along the edge, just enough so that this would actually fit sideways through my Big Shot. So I sent this through my Big Shot and I ended up with what I think is a really pretty edge. I love that, love the edge of this. So now I've got this really pretty little detail at the bottom, and it wasn't very much work. So the next thing that I did was I stamped, and I have several of these cards to make because these are going to be my customer thank you cards for April, and I have lots of customer orders thanks to that free shipping. A lot of smart people took advantage of that. So I'm using, with my Secret Garden stamp set, I'm using Melon, Mambo, and Island Indigo. And basically, I cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock in half so that it fits through my Big Shot like this. And I just randomly stamp 2 of the outline flowers. I really like these big outline flowers. I love big graphic flowers. And then what I love is that I can use my framelit, and this is the 3rd size of the framelit, and I can just move my framelit around till I have an image that I like, until I have like, that's kind of pretty. So I would cut that out, and I'm going to get as many of these ovals out of this piece as I can. So I went ahead and I cut one of those out. It looks like this, and I'm just going to use some snail to put that on the back of, to put snail on the back so I can attach this, attach this to my card. So I'm going to try to center this, try to center this, get it fairly even, and I don't push down until I feel like it's fairly even. Then I just give this snail a good little rub. My ink is nice and dry. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Perfectly Penned set. This is one of my favorite sentiments, and I'm doing thank you cards because these are for my customers, so I'm using the thank you. And I'm going to use the Island Indigo again, and I'm going to center this stamp underneath the I'm going to center it underneath this image, and I want to be careful that when I stamp this is kind of centered on my card, I stamp down, I don't rock, I pull back up because I don't want to get any smudges around the edge of the card. The last step to complete the card, to give it just one more detail so that when somebody opens up this card, they say, wow, that's pretty. It's not too simple, it's not too cluttered, it's just right. So the last detail, let me move these stamps so I don't get ink all over the inside, is I'm going to use my oval Framelits piercing template. I've got my piercing mat underneath, and by the way, these piercing mats make wonderful stamping pads. A lot of times I will actually stamp my images on top of it because you get a perfect image every time. You don't have to worry if you accidentally rock it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to line this up, And the lines on here will line with the framelit sizes, so I'm just going to line the edges like that around the image that I cut out, and then I'm just going to proceed to pierce all around it. I'm just going to go in each hole. I'm going to go all around like that. I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, so when I get that all done, let me hold this nice and close. You see that detail that adds to your card. So when you get that card, and it's not, you know, it's got a lot of color that just pops out at you, and it's got a couple of little techniques that make it a little bit more than a beginner card. And that's that. So if you want more card ideas, tips and tricks, head on over to my blog at stampingimperfection.com. Sign up for my newsletter. You can also check out my Facebook page at facebook.com/stampingimperfection. And if you really like my videos, you can go ahead and sign up for my virtual club. And with a minimum purchase of $35 in my virtual club every month, $35 worth of stamp supplies, which are delivered right to your door, I send you free video tutorials of exclusive projects just for my club members in your email box. As soon as I get your order, a confirmation that you've placed an order, I will send you free classes. And that's if you're a member of my virtual club. Check that out at stampingimperfection.com. Thanks for watching.